Well, Ulysses, the Tampa Bay Rays take 2 of 3 from the Texas Rangers, further proving they're the best team in all of baseball.
Yes, they do, and it was exciting this whole weekend. So let's talk about McClanahan, let's talk about Wander Franco, and much, much more starting right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays, as well as all the other traditional podcasting platforms. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays, and email us anytime. Voice memos preferred, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Well, the Tampa Bay Rays won Friday by a score of 8-3. They lose Saturday by a score of 8-4, and then win Sunday by a score of 7-3, taking 2 of 3, of course, against the Texas Rangers before the Rays head off to the West Coast. Ulysses, it is a Monday, which means it's time for takeaways and observations from the weekend. What do you got?
Oh man, there's so many things to talk about. Okay, so first, as a little I told you so. There was a Locked On Rays listener or commenter on YouTube. I think his name is Caleb, and he was like, "You got, I don't think you guys are right when you're saying that Patino is going to be used in the Beeks role. He's just going to be. He has been used 1 inning only in AAA." And then, lo and behold, he gets used for 2 innings in the weekend. So there you go, Caleb. All right, there you go. That's my little I told you so.
We were right in the sense that he would and should only be used in clunker-esque games, i.e. 8-1, and that was the case. And we saw why he's only used in those types of games, because I guess his fastball must look like grapefruits or cantaloupes to the opposing hitter, whether it's coming in at 94, 96, up and away, down and in, doesn't matter. The hitter, a professional major league hitter, is going to smack it around seemingly.
Yeah, and so I know that Caleb's first retort would be, well, it was 8-1. Of course, they want to save the bullpen and the arm. So there you go. He still got used for two innings. So there you go. But my main takeaway is, of course, the face of the franchise, and that's Wander Franco. He hadn't hit a home run since May 9th. And what a time to go deep with 2 men on base when your ace, has just slid in 3 runs, gets the other team back into the game. You got Martin Perez on the ropes the whole game. You need to have that final knockout punch. And then Wander Franco comes through, man. It was great to see. It was a bomb. And usually, I don't know why, but I feel like a lot of, maybe not this season, but most of the time when Rays hit home runs, it usually is like one solo shot or, maybe
Right.
one person on base. It's really rare to see a 3-run bomb. Maybe not this season. This season, I think we've seen it more. But it was really great to see Wander Franco get a hold of that and just expand that lead from 4-3 to 7-3. You kind of like, you take a big deep breath and you feel better about what's happening.
Yeah, you talk about those multi-RBI homers. Wander Franco in this case, to credit, Randy Arozarena to credit over the course of the season, Isaac Paredes to credit over the course of the season, but with Wander getting his 8th homer of the year, as an aside, just generally, does it seem like the offense, like Wander Franco and others, have so many times this season bailed or lifted or safety netted the pitching staff or the defense, where in all of the Rays history, pretty much up to this point, it's been the other way around?
100%. It's always been the pitching and defense leading the way. It's not like the pitching is bad this time around. It's not. We've got our issues with the bullpen, but the offense is just tremendous, man.
Yeah.
You just look up and down the lineup and you see contributions all over. And I know there are people that are going through droughts, i.e. Brennan Lowe. I know he's on the IL, but still he was going through a big drought. Taylor Walls broke his 0 for 30 this weekend. Good for him to get back on the right side of things. So, but up and down, man, it's ridiculous how good it is.
Does Wander Franco get to 20 homers this season? He's at 8 right now. First homer in over a month. It looked like a month and a half ago, we'd say easily he'd get to 20, but at 68 games played, he has 8. Does he get to the big 2-0?
I want to say yes. I want to say yes because I've claimed that he is one of the group of 2020 guys that the Rays have, which are like 3 of them. My heart wants to say yes. My brain wants to say no. So I guess you can get your answer through that. But yeah, 8 and 22 stolen bases. So he's got the bags already to get that 2020. 12 home runs. I think he can do it. Okay. But not if he goes another month without hitting one single home run. So let's see how these next couple of weeks go, and maybe it'll be a little bit more easier to answer that question.
I'll tell you what, he'll likely have way more stolen bases this season than homers. That's probably fair to say. We have more to discuss, but first we have to tell you about something very important, and that is eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head over to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are all guaranteed. So get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Little addendum to that question I posed. What's more likely? Wander Franco getting 20 homers or Shane McClanahan getting 20 Ws this season?
Yeah, I think you know the answer to that, and that's the lefty, man. He's already being compared to what David Price has done for the franchise, which is tremendous. You know, yeah, definitely Shane on that. Yeah.
Shane wants, he might be holding out for free agency. He wants that big payday. He is not going to give a hometown discount. It doesn't appear so.
Have I not called this since 2021? He gave me David Price vibes, and not only on the mound, but his personal attitude of like, no, I am also looking not only to be the best on the field, but being paid like the best on the field. And that's exactly what David Price used to say all the time.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm waiting. I believe in me. And hey, you know, they wouldn't be out there if they weren't competitive. They wouldn't be out there if they didn't believe in themselves. And so, yeah, that seems like the track that Shane McClanahan's on right now.
That's fair. My takeaway or big observation here, and I know I've mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. Isaac Paredes. I think Isaac Paredes needs his own fan club, his own fan section like Randy Arozarena. Get a Team Mexico thing going on. You have Team Randy in left field. I don't know. You might need to replace that because Paredes hits all his balls to left field. So I think you could maybe carve out some space for him as well. But what he did on Friday night, it was basically Isaac Paredes versus Leody Taveras. That was essentially the game. But getting 2 homers and 6 RBIs. And here's the thing about Paredes. Runners in scoring position, 2 strikes, 2 outs. When the moment is big and you need a big play or a big hit, he can come through, whether it's a home run, whether it's, again, fastball up and in, fastball up and away, or you just need a ball down the left field line, or like on Sunday where you have runners in scoring position and fewer than 2 outs, I believe no outs at the time, bases loaded. Hey, we just need to get a run in. We need to get runs on the board. So Paredes, what does he do? He puts the ball in play. Looked like a routine double play, but he still got the run in, and he had enough hustle and wherewithal to not get doubled up. So extremely, extremely impressed with what Paredes is putting forth this season. And I believe the team leader in RBIs. And let's also consider with all this, it's not like he's first on the team in at-bats or plate appearances. I mean, he's putting a lot of this production with a lot fewer plate appearances than others on this roster.
And when you make the comparisons from 2022 to 2023, the growth is incredible. His batting average going from 205 to 260, the on base going from 304 to 344, the slugging from 435 to 45. So his OPS has increased by 90 points. He, instead of being a 739 guy, he's an 829 guy. He already has as many RBIs as he had last year at 45. And mind you, he played 111 games last year, and he's only played 59. I know RBI might be a little bit more of a team construct, stat. If you're in a team that scores a lot of runs, you might have more opportunities for RBIs. Nonetheless, you have to get those RBIs. So that's where I stand. Yeah, I get that it's a team thing, but ultimately you do have to get those hits, and he's getting those hits. And when you talk about the opportunities that he has gotten in 2023, not being an everyday guy and still, for example, leading the team in RBIs, is it time to perhaps make some room so that Isaac Paredes becomes an everydayer like you guys are for Locked On Rays, subscribing and hitting that like button, and you guys are an everydayer for Locked On Rays? Should Isaac Paredes be an everydayer in the Kevin Cash lineup?
Possibly. It's a question to be considered. I also like the idea of whatever methodology and chemistry that the Rays have conjured up for Paredes to put him in positions to be the most successful. I'm okay with that as well. So that's something to watch and gauge going forward with. But regardless, at 24 years old, Paredes is doing really, really special things. I don't know if I expected this type of production out of him when he was acquired from Detroit in the Austin Meadows trade. I thought it was like, okay, he'll be a bit player. He'll be, 24th, 25th, 26th man off the bench. But no, thus far he's proven much more than that. So that's one thing. The other thing I do want to mention is, and it's not a huge deal by any means, but the Rays loss on Saturday, 8-4, where Taj Bradley was hanging sliders left and right. But the thing that I think probably hurt Taj Bradley to some extent was Vidal Brujan having a throwing error at second that cost what would have been a double play. So instead of 2 outs and nobody on, you had 0 outs and 1 run scored and multiple runners on. So I just want to preface this by saying, and no disrespect to what Vidal Brujan can or can't do defensively, but something to consider when you're calling up prospects and hotshot players is whatever their batting line is in AAA or AA, whatever it may be, we also have to consider the defensive side and how important that is. And it shouldn't be overlooked because defense can cost you games. So when you're thinking about calling up Kyle Manzardo or Curtis Mead or Junior Caminero, whoever it may be, it's just defense is important. That's what I'm trying to say. And it takes time to get adjusted to the speed of the game at the big league level, all the different ballparks, the confines of the Trop, working with your teammates, what they like and what they prefer, how they like a ball thrown to them, where they like to play in the field, positioning and so forth. Communication, that's a huge thing too. So just want to throw that out there is, I know there's a lot of, hey, we need to call up this guy or that guy, but maybe they're not ready yet in all phases of the game.
And again, just to devil's advocate, just for like 3 seconds, it's when are you really ready? Is anybody really ready? But really, I 100% agree with you. I think fans forget that if they want to clamor for a prospect, well, are we not seeing it with the Yankees right now? All we heard was Anthony Volpe, and now they hate Anthony Volpe. Well,
yes.
I mean, do you want the rookie to get his lumps or not? Like, where do you want to lie? So that's the same thing. With Vidal, though, it is uncharacteristic because you do believe in Vidal's glove. So that kind of, it's going to happen. It sucks that it happened that way. And it kind of did open the floodgates, didn't it? It just felt like, at least emotionally speaking, with Posh there. So, yeah, it sucks. Those things are going to happen. Again, I don't know. With Isaac, if we want to go there, Isaac does have smooth hands. I don't remember if he was on the lineup on Saturday. Do you remember if he was?
I can't recall. I could look it up real quick, but
okay, but because I did see.
Hey, he did so much on Friday. Maybe he deserved a little bit of a breather. He carried the team on Friday, so it's like, hey, we're gonna let you drink champagne till 2 a.m. and take it off.
Maybe. I saw that his splits, versus lefties, he's hitting 319 with a 907 OPS. Paredes is, and then against righties, he's hitting 242 with an 804 OPS. So
yeah,
his numbers are saying start me with a righty or lefty.
Right, and maybe there's just very specific righties that the Rays don't want to trouble him with, and also, hey, it's all about what's the phrase in basketball?
Load management.
Yeah, it's a long season. You want to give guys a couple days off here and there. Paredes is a bigger, stockier, bulkier guy, so the grind of 162 could be a little bit tougher on him than on some others. You can make that argument. So I'm okay with not doing anything that upsets anything, but if you're playing as good as you're playing, maybe you do deserve some opportunity. So I hate to be so wishy-washy on that, but that's
a very running for politics, running for office kind of answer. Well, yes, but for no's, I understand.
Hey, not everything's black and white. There's a lot of gray matter, gray area.
I agree. So. Can we just touch just for a little bit on the Lowe brothers? How cool was that?
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
And they had a whole bunch of family and friends in attendance, and something that in whatever sport it is, but baseball, to produce and breed two sons to play simultaneously in the big leagues, and not just play, but to be extremely productive.
Yeah,
is amazing and extremely rare and remarkable. So let's all consider that too.
And with different types of skills, they've got different they're different players, and it's really cool that they both will ultimately. Nathaniel is already a starter. Josh Lowe on most teams would be a starter. He's with the Rays, so he's not a starter. But he should be with his production. It's crazy. It's really awesome that happened. I'm glad that they both get to experience that with their families and their friends while they're both having such good times, in MLB. Like, they're not just struggling, and they're not like, oh, am I going to get, sent down to AAA sort of thing. Like, they're fine.
Yes. All right. So the Rays go to the West Coast to face the lowly Oakland Athletics, who amazingly are on a 5-game winning streak. But before we get to that, should note this. In the last 20 years, only one team, the 2022 Yankees, has had a better record 68 games into the season than the Rays. And I think this Rangers series was evident of the fact that no matter how good you are, how many games you've won in a row, what kind of streak or trek you're on, you come to the Trop. That's where good vibes go to die for the opposition, because they did it to the Pirates, they did it to the Dodgers, and now they've done it to the Rangers. And for all the talk about the Rays not being able or not facing anybody, they have like a 63% winning percentage against teams above 500, and teams that are in either first or second place in their respective division, the Rays are 14-7. So it's not just the Athletics and the Nationals and the Reds and the insert bad team here that the Rays are beating up on.
And also, if you compare their schedule to any other AL East team, they have the best record against the AL teams whilst playing the most games against AL East teams. So right now the lead is at 5.5, I believe, to the Orioles, and it goes up to like 11 games to the Red Sox. That can expand right quick when you see the Yankees fumble series against the Red Sox, when you see the Toronto Blue Jays maybe fumble against the Orioles, and vice versa. So that'll be good, man. I am not a standings person. After 2011, I have learned as a Rays fan that standings do not matter until basically late August, early September. Really. Okay. And I may be a little bit of an extremist there for some of you that are standings watchers since, April 20th. I just feel that way. Since 2011, when you are able to make up 9 games and do what they did in 2011, that kind of has taught me that anything is possible. So standings watch is not for me, but because of the lead is so cool, I have been paying attention to it, and I hope that it keeps increasing.
Yeah. And I mean, standings watch with baseball will just drive you crazy every day, every game for 6 months. I mean, it's different with college football and college basketball and NFL, but so 4-game series versus the Athletics, who, you guessed it, they're 29th in team OPS at 6.66. They're 30th in team ERA at 6.39. They're 29th in team defensive runs saved at -26. They're last, I believe, in average attendance per game at 8,675. That actually seems higher than what I thought it would be. They are 17-50 on the year. So, Ulises, do the Rays sweep and or take 3 of 4 from the Athletics?
I do not think they will sweep.
Okay.
It's very difficult to sweep. It's very difficult to sweep a 4-game series. It's difficult to sweep a 4-game series at somebody else's house. So no, I don't think so. I again, these West Coast trips, man, you get out of there with a 500 record and you count your blessings. And honestly, I know people want more. They won the 3 out of 4. I would be happy with a split. I'll take the 3 for 4. Hopefully that's what it is. But I would be happy with a split right now. I mean, going to the West Coast is no easy thing ever. So, and also you have mentioned how the Rays have to travel, one of the longest for this whole season. So again, just be healthy, hopefully get 2 wins, and everything should work out.
Well, the Rays did very well during the COVID season, and I think this series could be reminiscent of that because the ballpark is going to be damn near empty, I think, as opposed to there's some kind of reverse boycott thing going on later this week. But I would think for the majority of this 4-game series that it's going to be cricket. It's going to feel like you're playing in a haunted house at not Oko Coliseum. It's Ring Central Coliseum. So somehow, some way, they got naming rights to their ballpark. So
don't our poor Oakland friends. We can't be speaking too much about stadium attendance either. Although this year, my goodness, we've seen that uptick, which is nice. By the way, this is as an aside. Our Locked On A's host, Jason Burke, will be credentialed for this season. And he asked us if we had any questions for the Rays. So we might have to give him a ring and tell him, a couple questions for the Rays players.
Yeah, we might have to do a crossover after this series ends or in the midst of this series. I would be interested to see where the stadium issue lies and just the overall sentiment of the Athletics fan base right now, because it is no bueno for sure. It'd be great after this series if the Rays what is the word I'm looking for, basically if their record is the opposite of the Oakland Athletics.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're 48-20.
And the Athletics are 17-50.
God,
I can't think of the word. It starts with a P, but my brain's not working on a Monday morning, unfortunately.
Well, somebody in the comments is already probably going to write it. So thank you guys so much for doing that.
Listening. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.